And another game coming up, the Pittsburgh Steelers getting back at it, this time with Russell Wilson, who's taking first-team snaps now.
So I've seen a lot of different videos. It's unfair to Justin Fields. Should Justin Fields be benched? The thing about it is their offense is limited with Justin Fields. And Russell was brought in to be QB1.
Yeah.
And it's not like Justin Fields has played so great where you're like, well, we can't pull him out now. We got to ride with him. And if you look at their schedule, they got after this week and next week, they got the Giants next week. After that,
bye week.
They got the Commanders, then they got the Ravens, then they got the Bengals, then they got the Browns, then the Ravens again. They start playing their division.
Yeah.
And you can't have a rusty Russell Wilson going against those teams. So it makes sense to put him in now and work that rust out.
Yeah, that's true too. And against the Jets, who get out, if they don't do anything else, they do get after the quarterback. They don't stop the run like they did last year. And, looking at what Justin Fields and how he played this year, like you said, he hasn't done anything that made you think that, it's his job to lose. But they've won games. They did the same thing last year, playing worse than they did this season.
Right.
They still kept winning games. It's still a Mike Tomlin issue to me that he's the one who's helping his team win without even going on the field, putting players in position to win games regardless of how the circumstances are around them. But Justin Fields himself, he comes in not even being self-deprecating. He's saying, you know what? I don't think I deserve to be in. I don't think I played well enough to play in these games. He just said that himself. That's a quote. I don't think I played well enough for them to take me out. And on top of that, he said, you know what? If I played well enough, there wouldn't even be a question of whether Russell Wilson should get a shot or not. And that's just as true.
He's right. And there you go. So all those Justin Fields apologists can sit down and shut up.
Yep, and that's exactly because if he's game with it, you know what? I guess the rest of the organization is, and I think he took a lot.
Now that doesn't mean Russell's going to come in and light it up and then
that's another thing,
like, whoa, we got to put Justin Fields back in. It's not like Russell was killing it last year. He hasn't been the same Russell since his Seahawks days. So it remains to be seen what he can do with the Steelers. They may not ask him to do a lot because it is the Steelers and their offense, but
their defense. It's been. I mean, that's been their identity forever.
We'll see. Maybe his passes are more on point. Maybe he throws for more yardage. Maybe, he gets more first downs throwing the ball instead of, scrambling and getting first downs that way. We'll see, because he's definitely not going to scramble like Justin.
Oh, no, he does. He knows he's not like Tom Brady in terms of playing, but in terms of pocket awareness, we've seen him do that before. You automatically assume that he could run a little bit or run a lot because he's just an athletic quarterback coming out of North Carolina State and then going to Wisconsin. He did move around, but then even as an older quarterback, he has that pocket awareness to where he knows where to step, knows where to go, and his touchdown to interception ratio is still pretty solid, even while he played badly last season on a bad team. Now with the Steelers, where he won't be called on to do so much, he has the running game, you have the offensive line, and it may just take 150 yards or 200 yards to win a game. And people probably will accept it. They will accept 150 or 200 yards and a win coming from Russell Wilson, considering he's been off for so long.
It probably comes down to trust. They probably just automatically have way more trust in Russell Wilson than they do in Justin Fields. Justin had that play where he picked up his foot and still wasn't expecting the snap. Then hit him in the face mask. I'm sure that had to drive Tomlin crazy. That shouldn't happen. And he's not a rookie. So you can understand rookie mistakes, but it's Justin's, fourth or fifth year in the league. Those plays like that should not be happening. So I believe it's a trust factor.
Yeah, I think so too. It's almost like even though he's won these games, you still had to bite your nails in almost every game. Even though he's been winning the games, it still was like, we just don't have that full trust yet. In fact, we might not even be halfway there, but they're winning the games. And it's almost just a matter of time as the season goes on, something's going to fall off the cliff. And then it's going to be probably dissension all of a sudden. All of these people who wanted to finally said, I told you so, they'll get a chance to say it because it's almost inevitable that he's going to have a bad time out there bring in Russ, see how he does. And if he plays worse than what Justin, and that's relative, plays worse than what Justin Fields has been doing, maybe they get this, I don't know, a renaissance to where they believe Justin Fields may be someone they can invest in for the long term, especially if he can get even better along the way. But after 4 years in the league, well, this is his 4th year in the league, I would have expected a little bit more from him points-wise. In fact, you know what the reality is, believe it or not, he's actually increased the Steelers' point from last year to this year, 20 points this year as opposed to 17 last season. So he's increased the offense. So, I mean, there are metrics that are pointing to him being a benefit and not a detriment, but it's almost like that wait and see. If you give him enough time, he's going to show his true colors. This is a longer season now, not 16 games, but 17 games. And I can see why they would think that way.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different factors, but it's mostly the trust factor. You go to week 1, they won the game, but they kicked 6 field goals.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're saying, man, we got to punch in at least 2 of those. You know, you get down there close enough, you got to punch them in. You can't always come away with 3. So if you look at it from that perspective, they want to finish off drives with touchdowns, not field goals. And they must feel, obviously, Russell Wilson gives them a better chance to do that.
Yeah, and right now against the Jets, it's not a division game, so you can do that, throw it out there. It doesn't really hurt you, not immediately. But, you know, if it comes down to like way down the line, if there's a real close tie, then those things start becoming a factor. But yes, I think this is a good time to see what he can do, especially against a defense that can still get after the quarterback. So Russ is going to really have to show something, you know, and you can get your results early and see what it is. And even if he goes through the whole game without getting injured, or if he doesn't look well, you can at least have something to look at in film time and see what the next move should be in the following game. Do you give him another shot right away? I doubt you take him out, because I don't think you want to get into a situation. Even Mike Tomlin doesn't want to do this musical chair thing with the quarterbacks. Right. You know, he's a professional, the consummate professional. He's proven it. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he wants to be decisive like he's always been, put that one guy in there, and if he's getting results, like he said, this is a competitive league, and we're going to do what's best for the team. The hot hand wins. Right now, Justin Fields had a hot hand until it was kind of getting warmed up. So now you got to bring in Russ Wilson and see what he is, because he is Q1 anyway.
Right. I think he's probably played better than a lot of people expected.
Yep.
But the bar was set so low. You know,
that's another case.
They're 4-2. People probably didn't expect them to be 4-2, but we talked about it last year. The job Mike Tomlin does to get his teams above 500, to make the playoffs, and you look at it, how are they doing it with that quarterback, with that offense? It must be smoke and mirrors. So now, you know, it's not a surprise that the Steelers win games. It shouldn't be anyway.
That's why I don't like when people talk about Mike Tomlin and they're saying that he either won with Bill Cowher's players or he's not as good as they say. He's more of a cheerleader, that nonsense that Terry Bradshaw said a few years back. He's more of a cheerleader than a coach. Absolutely ridiculous, man. This guy has not had a losing season. He's one of the deans in the NFL in terms of longevity, and he's continued to do it now year after year. Even last year, he had every right to lose games that he was winning, because statistically and every way otherwise, he was supposed to have lost games, and they kept on winning. And now they're back there again, looking better than last year. As I mentioned, scoring 3 points more than they did last season when it came to their offense. 17 points then, 20 points now. Yeah, with Justin Fields. Russ Wilson comes in, uses that experience, probably makes fewer mistakes and more decisive passing and getting you more yards. That means possibly more wins, because the defense is always going to be there.
And I'm sure they'll bring Justin in on short yardage situations. They're still going to use him. You know, he's a dynamic athlete, so you can't just have him sitting there with the clipboard the entire game. You know, you got to use him, you know, how people used running backs in wildcat situations. Only it's a real quarterback you're using.
Yeah, and there's so many gimmicks you can do with him. Even with his lack of precision, you can still, a quarterback that's doing a gimmick play is just as dangerous as a quarterback that's in the backfield, dropping back, doing what he normally does, because it's not expected. So there are a lot more openings. I would rather have a quarterback, even if he's a bad quarterback, throwing a trick play, a halfback option kind of play, than a running back who's just not used to throwing, who just does it in practice. But
if you bring him in on 3rd and 2 and run the RPO, who's the defensive end going to choose? Is he going to crash for the running back, or is he going to stay home for Justin, or is Justin going to pull it and throw a little slant pass?
Yep,
You know,
a lot of options when you have a legitimate quarterback there. They can say what they want about him being a good or bad quarterback, but a quarterback who's used to carrying that ball or throwing that ball or knowing what to do with the ball, that's better than any running back out there. That's why you have those professions like that.